Hey guys, Mark Ferrasci with Protect Dog Training. I'm out here with the kennel and basically cleaning kennels and that sort of thing. A nice shade spot. It's a beautiful morning. Hasn't heated up too bad. I've already gone out and worked my dogs out in the front. We worked the Gentle Giant, Mr. Ace. We worked him and I had a good session with him this morning. I did a video and I canned it, so I didn't do that. But I'll go ahead and probably do another one with the same topics. I've got kind of a thread that I'm following with him. I want you guys to kind of see that we go through certain things. A lot of trainers will get out here and they'll give you a demo and the dog's pretty much perfect with what they've got working with and everything. I like to be a little more rough around the edges and be a little more honest and then basically show you all the rough spots. You know, it's a lot of work. It's something we do thousands and thousands of hours. You know, a dog like Ace comes in for a month training program and I will work him in the beginning. Like I said, we usually take 2 or 3 days just to bond with a dog, get an idea and evaluate him and get an idea of where his head's at, who he is as an animal, his temperament, etc. We took Ace out to Tractor Supply the other day, see how I do in public. He's just a big, gentle giant. He loves everybody. He's not really too much worried about it. He is a little bit spooky, meaning that he, gets startled or something. He kind of jumps and goes, "Oh my God!" So we need to shake him out a little better. That's going to be getting him used to people, places, and things, and a lot of what I call shaking the animal out. And you've heard me talk about with the horses, where we basically knock on things, rattle things, get him so used to basically noises and things coming at him that he don't care anymore. And we would like to have a heavy foot traffic with any dog I work with. I like to go out in public, and I like to really just saturate him with public because I want a dog that's very social, in and around crowds that just takes it blasé. Because if I ever sell a dog, you saw that, well, you haven't seen him probably, but a while back, a year or two ago, I had me a Dutch Shepherd that I raised from a puppy. I went in with Norman Augustin, who went and got the dog, believe it or not, on Craigslist. And he found himself a hell of a dog. The dog's father is in Mexico, or was in Mexico, as a police dog on the streets of Mexico City. And so that's where the breeding came from. And then he just got lucky and fell on these guys. They had a shed with all the suits and all that. So they were heavy hobbyists or people that are dog people. And he snatched that dog right up right away after evaluating the litter and brought me the dog at about 12 weeks of age. The dog's name was Dutch. And I raised that dog and did a hell of a job with him. I was real proud with what I did with him. And then I sold him to a gentleman in Fresno area, I do believe, out that way. And this gentleman likes to play with dogs a little bit, and then he usually flips them within a year or so. And they go to a cop shop or whatever. He's got connections with a canine operation up there that does working dogs. So he ended up selling him, and now the dog's on the street in the Bay Area. And they love him. They love the dog, and it makes you feel good when you have a dog that goes out there and is doing the job. And I always look for that. If I can find a dog, Bravo back here is a dog that should be at a cop shop, and I'll evaluate the dog, and I know the animal. And I wish I could get these my counterparts in the police canines. They stay to themselves. They got that blue wall, you know what I mean? And it's hard to get into those circles. But I wish they would trust me to make me realize when I have a dog and I tell you what it is, I'm very honest and I'm very forthright. I'm not going to bullshit you. I'm going to tell you exactly his pros and his cons. You know, you're going to know the dog when I go ahead and let you take the dog. Bravo is one of those type of dogs that needs to have a job. High energy outflow dog that just, if he get a daily job, popping that door, going after the bad guy, doing some nose work, get his brain into doing the work and having a good handler that had him, he would excel. It would be excellent. It'd be another one on my little notch. I keep hearing good things about Dutch up in the Bay Area. They love the dog. And I've got another dog I'm working now, this little Buddy, that little Dutch Shepherd that I've got, that's going to be a hell of a dog. He's going to be a little bit more on the sharp side, but he's going to be the real deal. So, and I enjoy that. I enjoy producing a product. That's what I do. I think of dog training like art, okay? It's a piece of art, and you're producing that, and you're painting the colors on the canvas, and you're creating something that is one of a kind. And that means that dog is a direct reflection of me and who I am and how I build the dog, okay? Genetic-wise, everything. When I build a dog, there's definitely a certain type of an animal that I produce, and it's just who I am. And I get a lot of help from a lot of helpers, a lot of decoys that help me do that. I mean, I can't do it all by myself, but luckily I've been doing this long enough, and I know most everybody in the business, where I can find those good helpers and get that quality decoy work. We're going to be working with a canine handler tomorrow, decoy helper. Has his own training business, Alex Chivaron with 5-Star, and he does a lot of bully breeds. He's into the bullies, and he's got a whole group of people that go out with those bullies, and beautiful looking dogs. It's not my breed. I'm not into that, but Alex is a good decoy, so I really respect that. And luckily enough, he lives up here with me, so I can get him to come over every now and then when he gets a free spot. Hopefully, he'll be coming over tomorrow morning. We're going to play with Ace and see if we can get him sparked. What I mean by spark, it's just kind of like starting an engine. Okay, a dog has no clue about what he's supposed to do, and if he's missed those imprint periods, we've talked about these things. You really want to develop a puppy from an 8 weeks of age and really put the work into him to build the confidence and people, places, and things, and socialization, all those things to balance that dog out. And with a good temperament, it all comes together, right? And you want to start your sack work and all that good stuff when they're puppies. You've seen me out here with 7-8 weeks puppies, and I'm playing with that sack, I'm rattling that stick, you know. But it takes a little bit of skill. You got to know what you're doing, and if you don't know what you're doing, you shouldn't be out there doing it, because you're going to create all kinds of bad behavior, bad habits, I guess is a good word for it. And you're not going to know how to solve them, and you're not going to know they're there because you have no experience. So always get together with somebody that's got some experience and some stuff under his belt where he has a good understanding of that. He or she has a good understanding of it, so that you can not have those things. I'll give you a good example. Right now, because I'm working so much by myself and I don't have the decoys and helpers I usually would have because of what's going on with this coronavirus, Buddy is getting a little chewy. And the reason for that is because you don't have that back pressure, okay? When I set the bite and I let the dog go in and bite that object, okay, right away I'll have a harness on most of my dogs when they're young, for sure, okay? And I don't work my dogs just in a collar. I like to work with a harness because I do that back pressure. Right away the dog goes into the bite, and the decoy, knowing what he's doing, he's going to try to take that bite away from him, and I'm going to set my tension on the other side. Okay, and what I call it setting the bite. Okay, I want the dog to go in and bite real deep into the mouth. Okay, way back and deep in the mouth. And when he bites, I want him to do what I call a crunch bite. I want him to hit that first bite and just crunch. Okay, so that I create a dog that has drive to take the man down, and his first bite, especially his first bite, but even then, so I do it all the time. If you get around Joker, I've raised him from a baby. The decoys, the helpers will get together with me, and they tell me right off the bat the dog has a hell of a bite. And the reason for that is I developed that bite from a young age, and I constantly am aware of it, and I want that dog to have what I call a crunch bite. Okay, I want him to have debilitating pain, take the man down on the ground so heavy with his bite, the dude cries out in pain and he just hits the ground. Okay, very important, because if you're going towards law enforcement or military, it doesn't matter. If anybody was to pick up my dogs in the military, it'd be the same thing. I want that dog to take the man down and put him down fast, because in the real world, and law enforcement is a good example, the person's got adrenaline going, they've got fear, they've got all these things, and a lot of times drugs, okay, methamphetamines, whatever it may be, and that adrenaline level and that with that drugs takes them up, and they're a lot of times they're like Superman, right? And nothing can phase them. So it's real important that you have a dog that's really physical in the work, comes in, hits like a shit brick house, and takes that man down as fast as he can, especially when he first makes contact, okay? But even after that, he's got to be able to fight, he's got to stay with the fight. But I call that a debilitating pain, and I want the guy to go down heavy. So again, I don't do sport, okay, as much. I get around the sport because there's always kind of diamonds in the rough, and we've talked about it before. All these little things that each sport can give you, that you can pull out of each sport, that will develop the dog. I think I talked about Schutzen and IGP. I don't know if I posted that one or not. A lot of times I'll do these and I don't like them, and I'll can them. But the difference in the sport, every sport has things that you can take for the real application and functional. In Schutzen IGP, I like the blind search, because you've got a directed search that's going to help me go into my building searches. Okay, so that foundation. The tracking, where the dog has to put his nose to the ground and track like he's on a trail, that's not a natural aspect. It's hard to train a dog to track if you don't know what you're doing. If you've got the skills and you know what you're doing, you can do it pretty well. But in a general sense, it's not a natural thing. Okay, it's not a natural thing for a dog to hold his nose to the ground like that. Most dogs, if they're going to go after their prey and they're going out to hunt, they're going to pull their head up and they're going to be casting, okay? Stick the head down, go. But you want a dog that's got himself a good foundation. The Schutzen dogs, they show it. They go to the ground a lot more often. And as they start to learn the real world applications, because they're chasing after the bad guy, they're going to start casting and catch that smell on a bush as they're going down the trail. And they're going to have a tendency to put that nose to the grindstone, which is where the scent's coming from, where that crushed surface surface is at, where they're going by, and that crushed surface and that broken leaves and broken grass and all that puts out smell, along with the scent that the person is dropping off in them, and the pheromones coming off of them from fear and adrenaline that they're putting out when they're running away from the dog. So that's Schutz and IGP. Those are the two main ones that I can see in the sport. But there's all kinds of things. The development they do on the dog and the bite. I have that in my training philosophies. I always constantly want to make sure I build bite and do it right, where the dog's biting in the back of the mouth. Ring sport is a great example of teaching the dog to go after the legs. Okay, and they use one aspect they use in their training programs with a bungee cord. And the bungee cord creates a lot of drive. The dog really drives through at the very last because he knows he's going to have that tension on him. He gets used to that tension like a rubber band is going to bounce him back. And when he bites, that is that back pressure that we're talking about. Creates a dog to want to hang on more because he knows he's going to lose it, because that bungee is going to pull him backwards if he lets go of that bite. So each sport has some kind of developmental type of thing that I can apply and that I can put my mind into that will work for me. KNVP, they teach the dog KNPV, I always say it wrong. Whatever. Out of the Netherlands and Holland, the closest that you're going to get to real police work. They have about 5 or 6, maybe 8 or 9 definite target zones that they have the dog developed to bite. The back of the kneecap, the top of the shoulder, right here in the top of the shoulder, okay? There's some certain key spots that they teach, and they develop those dogs from a puppy because of the sport to bite in these areas all the time. Well, the dog gets hardwired for that with their drives, and they're going to go, and these are debilitating pain type of bites. You get bit behind the kneecap right there and find out what it feels like when a dog takes you down, or underneath this armpit where that muscle right here, where that muscle is at, that is one of the most painful places you're going to get bit ever. And I've had a couple of my friends get bit that way. One guy actually ran to the hospital one night because it hurt so damn bad. He goes, I've never had so much pain in my life. This is through a suit, no less. So each sport has some kind of diamond in the rough, something that I can pull out of it that's for very practical applications. So I'll go ahead and let you guys go. I appreciate you guys signing up, and I encourage you to hit that bell, subscribe to the list so you'll get more, and we're going to try to get these better. I got every now and then you'll see me get some fancy intro and outros like I just posted this morning with a friend of mine that did one for me. I am no good at this stuff, and I don't want to be, okay? I want somebody else to do it for me. I'd love to get a cameraman up here, somebody that's good at editing film and actually have some good sound and intros and exits and make myself look like a pro. Reality is that doesn't say you're a good trainer, okay? There are some good trainers that are doing it though and putting in that extra effort in their marketing program. So I've weathered a little bit. I'm a little bit older, and I've kind of been there, done that, and I get a little bored by that. I want to be out there training dogs. So I'll let you guys go. Have a good day. It's a beautiful day up here in the high desert, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.